Hi there, I'm Krista Hurley. I'm a Theta Healing instructor, and you can connect with me at kristahurley.com. I wanted to speak with you today about how to maximize your pleasure potential. Give you a couple quick tips on bringing more pleasure into your life. So when I say the word pleasure, what is it that triggers in you? It tends to be a word that's really triggering that people have reactions to. You know, for some of us, it might be that we can't have that pleasure. That's the kind of pleasure that you have when everything else is checked off your list. When you're on a vacation somewhere for a week, then you can access pleasure. For others, pleasure is just sexual. The two are connected and they kind of miss out on the full realm of what pleasure is. There's physical pleasure where you're bringing in all of your senses into your experience. There's emotional pleasure, there's spiritual pleasure, and there's sexual pleasure, all very important aspects of pleasure. So for me, you know, a really pleasurable experience would be going for a walk on the beach. I love seeing the sunset. I love hearing the waves crash on the beach. I feel really connected to source when I'm near water. So I'm accessing the physical and spiritual elements of pleasure in those moments. I love the sand on my feet, being connected to the earth, right? So there's lots of different ways we can experience pleasure. So my tip for you, the first tip, is to just begin to bring in an awareness as to how you're feeling. So take a moment right now. How do you feel? So let's pump up your pleasure potential. What could you do in this moment to bring more pleasure? So for me, I'm leaning forward as I speak to you and my back is feeling a little strained. So I could actually physically just sit up, and that would bring more pleasure into my body and into my experience. You could be reading a book or working at your computer. What would bring you more pleasure? Maybe you're thirsty and you just need to go get a glass of water, and that will bring you from a 6 on your pleasure scale to an 8. Maybe you're kind of bored with the monotonous task you're doing, so you need a 5-minute dance break, which is something that would bring me pleasure, so you bring that in, right? So it's like looking at every single moment and how you can inject more pleasure into each and every moment. Say you're eating a meal and you're at a 6. What would bring that meal up to an 8? Maybe the miso sauce, you need to add more onto your vegetables and quinoa or whatever you're having. Maybe it needs more salt and pepper. Maybe you need a glass of wine to bump it up to make it a 9 or a 10. So in every moment, ask yourself, how can I pump up my pleasure potential? And do it. Something really simple that can bring more pleasure in. Second tip, at the end of every day, look back at your most pleasurable moment. So it might be that moment where your daughter, for me, where my daughter was laughing and just having a great time at the park while I was chasing her and playing tag. That would be an emotional, pleasurable moment. So we had this connection, the laughter, so there's the physical pleasure from the laughter, that sound, right? Kind of incorporating my senses, the physical pleasure around being active. Maybe that's the moment that brought in the most pleasure. Maybe you want to list your top 3. But again, sending out that attitude of gratitude, of really being mindful and noticing all of these amazing moments will help create more pleasure in your life. So looking at the full spectrum of all sorts of pleasure, whether it's sexual, emotional, spiritual, or physical, looking at all components of that and really bringing those into your day through mindfulness and through noting them. And then through intention, like take a walk in nature, if that's what brings you pleasure. Drink your cup of coffee. Whatever it is that brings you more pleasure, take a bath. Make time for yourself without justification, without feeling guilty, to bring in more pleasure into your life. Please forward this on to anyone that may benefit from this video. Thanks so much for tuning in and for listening. You can check out some of my other tips and strategies on my website, kristahurley.com, or on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much. Take care and embed your day with pleasure.